Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. Senior advocate Dushyant Dave called former Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana a People's Chief Justice. People's Chief Justice. Was N.V. Ramana actually People's Chief Justice? Let's discuss that. Let's get right into the show. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was called the People's President. He was called the People's President because of the way he interacted with the people of this country, the way he interacted with all to the top scientists to military to school children, the way he interacted and the way he could win their hearts. That's why he was called the People's President. Because I don't think there would be anybody in this country who would have anything bad to say about Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Now, Dushyant Dave called Justice N.V. Ramana the People's Chief Justice. Was it the same with Justice N.V. Ramana? Was he really the People's Chief Justice? Now, I would let you decide that. I'm going to take you through a few of his statements and I'm going to take you through a few of his acts. So let us see both. And then you take a call. Okay. Now, one of the most popular statements that Justice Ramana made was on 14th of May 2022 in Srinagar. Where he said, one of the major challenges to protection of rule of law and human rights is the inability of formal justice system to deliver speedy and affordable justice to all. This is what he said. Justice should be speedy. Justice delayed is justice denied. He said, the biggest challenge is that our inability to provide speedy justice. He said this in Srinagar. And mind you, the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir is pending in his court for the last 1,115 days. Nothing has been done about it. But he had something else to say. Okay. Now, another very important point that he made was in US. He said it is necessary for all the citizens of the world to work tirelessly to sustain and further the liberty, freedom, democracy of our forefathers have fought for. Very important. He said it's your job to ensure that you sustain liberty, freedom and democracy. Act for your democracy, as they say. Correct. Okay, but somewhere down the line, the Challenge to Unlawful Activity Prevention Act, UAPA 1961, widely criticized as a tool to quell dissent, was pending for 1,105 days. No action was taken. A challenge to electoral bonds for being opaque and encouraging murky political fundings was in his court for 1,816 days, and like the justices before him, he did nothing about it. Yet he felt that, people should act for their democracy, act for liberty, freedom and democracy. Okay, I want to take you to another statement he made. He said that I am a strong proponent of affirmative action, he said. To enrich the pool of talent, I strongly propose reservation of girls in legal education. He said this on the 10th of March 2022. Very good statement to make and I completely agree to him. But unfortunately, a Karnataka government ban on the hijab for Muslim students in the government educational institution was lying in front of him for 159 days. He did nothing about it. And so many other cases actually. Challenge of Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, which provides fast-track citizenship to only non-Muslims from 3 neighboring states, in front of him 987 days. Him and his court. He took no decisions. He absolutely took no decisions. So while his statements were very encouraging, possibly a decision on abrogation of Article 370, either ways, would have at least given a direction to this country. Possibly the challenging a decision to the electoral bonds would have given a direction to this democracy for sure. The Karnataka government ban on Muslim girls wearing hijab to schools would have given a direction to this democracy. The union government's reservation policy based on economic criteria and not on caste factors would have given some direction to our democracy, which was not UAPA Act. If you would have given some decisions, would have given some direction to our democracy, if it is being used for political means to quash dissents, then it would have made a difference. It would have made a difference to our politics. While all this was said, I don't know why these actions were not taken if he was serious about it. Point that I'm trying to make is, you see, a lot of bureaucrats, a lot of justices, a lot of senior government officials, you see, they tend to make a lot of statements. Some don't make statements, they just do nothing. Some do make a lot of statements, especially when they come near to retirement, but they are very wary of making a decision because they do not want to spoil their post-retirement life. So, because they don't want to spoil their post-retirement life, they remain indecisive. And this is not something that I see in one or two cases. I see this in a lot of cases. And in my mind, to my mind, former Chief Justice N.V. Ramana was no different. He gave very good sound bites. His speeches were very, very good to listen to. But what happened in his court was what he said, the failure to give speedy and affordable justice. Now, let me also tell you before I end, he gave an apology on the last day of his office. He gave an apology which I have to read it out to you because to be fair to him. He said, I must admit that issues of listing and posting of matters in one of the areas on which I could not pay requisite attention. I'm sorry for that. We were busy firefighting all days. You see, he says, I'm sorry, while I talk about liberty, I talk about freedom, I talk about democracy, he says, I'm sorry, I couldn't give much time on Article 370 of abrogation of Article 370 of Jammu and Kashmir because I was busy firefighting. I couldn't give time to the challenge of Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019 because I was firefighting. He says, I couldn't give time to electoral bonds for being opaque because I was busy firefighting. I don't know what that meant. If the Chief Justice of India is not looking at cases that matters to the country, that matters to the democracy, that matters to human rights, what fire would the Chief Justice of India be fighting? I didn't understand that, but he said it. He said it himself. So, with all due respects, I didn't understand what it meant. Indian judiciary has grown with time. It cannot be defined or judged by one single order or judgment all the time. The majesty of this great institution shall be protected and defended by the bench and the bar. When? How? Well, that is a question that remains unanswered. So to my mind, Justice Ramana, good speaker, very good speaker, spoke a lot of sense. But I think that's where it starts. And to my mind, that's where it ends. Before I end this editorial, thank you so much. We are 3 lakhs. We are 3 lakh subscribers in English. So thank you so much for subscribing to English, HW English. Please try and make us 5 lakhs. Thank you so much for subscribing to HW English. Keep on subscribing to us. Go get into our subscription package if you can. Subscribe to one of our packages. That will help us. And till I see you next time. Namaskar.